Eterspire is an indie MMORPG that just released for early access onto Steam. This is cross-platform and has been in development for at least 4 years. I played this for the last week, racked up 10 hours, so this will be a little review for it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know a lot of people have tried this or are playing it right now. Leave me a like if you can, and subscribe for indie MMORPG content. It's all we cover on this channel. We also have a Discord server, over 1,000 on there, indie MMORPG themed. So let's get started with our class options. We have our warrior who can either go DPS or tank. Note, there are no two-handed weapons on this game. I went warrior hoping to use like a big claymore or a longsword, but they're just one-handed and you use a shield. We have our guardian who is more of a support and tank style class, also uses melee and shields. We have our rogue who I think can use a shield. Yo, my bad, I don't know what the heck rogue uses. I don't think they can dual wield. Slot weapon. I don't think rogues dual wield. I don't think I've ever seen anyone with two weapons in their hand. My bad. Back to the review. We also have sorcerer who uses different elements and kind of has a few different options for their secondary abilities. This is action combat. Use WASD to move, left click for your basic attack, right click is dependent on your weapon. We can go with my class, for example, the broadsword. It has a ground slam, which is like an AoE. We have the trident, which is a thrust attack, stabbing enemies. And our longsword fires a projectile. It's like a big slash projectile, and it penetrates through enemies. The guardian has pretty much the only decently unique right click ability, which is to give your group a defense buff. The mages do get a few different options. They have a choice between fire staves, arcane staves, and ice staves, and you could read those weapon abilities if you want. They do have a combat progress guide showing what you get when you level up and all kinds of different stuff that you can equip, and they have the ability tree, which is how you can change your character. Every so often you get some new passive skills, and your first chunk of skills come in about the first 5 hours or so. You can kind of choose between tanking versus DPS, and then as well as stuff like damage versus health versus attack speed as passive boosts to your character. It does help make your character feel a little bit more unique, but I just don't think it's enough. As far as armor goes, it is class specific, and your only options are basically DPS or tanking. You basically get health or attack speed and damage. Not super interesting there. As far as upgrading your gear goes, I'm not really sure what determines it, but you basically have a max upgrade for each piece of gear that you find or loot. Yes, you do loot gear all the time in this game as well, but you can buy it and you upgrade every 10 levels or so. But you use these shards that drop, and they also come from quests. I have a ton of them, you can see here. As far as gear variety goes, there is quality on your gear, and that determines your base stats basically. It is just RNG. While we're on the topic of inventory space, you start off with 30, and I think that's just too little, especially since that locks you out of getting experience, which is one of the craziest mechanics I've ever seen in an MMO. I don't know if any of you guys can top that, but these materials also take up space in your inventory. I'm 65 out of 100. I don't know how a free-to-play player is gonna play this. No experience? Why did it say that? Dude, this inventory system's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, 30 inventory slots? I've only been grinding for like 20 minutes out of the hour and 10 minutes we've been on. Why are we not getting experience? Because of the inventory? I've never seen that in a game. Trash. Do we get experience now? That's... what? That's the weirdest thing I ever seen. But people were commenting that in our first impressions. They're like, yeah, people are level 160 free to play. I don't really believe it, or that's absolute torture. But if you end up enjoying the game, you can purchase what I did, which was like the $20 basically buying the game, where you go up to 100 inventory slots, you get more bank storage, you get teleport rocks, which you use to teleport around the map. Super useful. When I first started, I was running to all the maps, but these teleport rocks drop for mobs all the time. You're gonna be teleporting around a lot in this game. Just a side note. Other monetization in this game includes these fragments, which are technically pay to win. It says they're used to upgrade items beyond 5, which I pointed out in first impressions, but other people are saying that they're super easy to get, and the dev says they're easy to get. But why not just remove a pay to win element from your game if it's not necessary? Then people like me can't just start complaining, or you won't have any negative reviews saying how the game's pay to win. Most of the rest of the store are the cosmetic sets, which are basically gacha. You could spend like $2 to get a 1 in, what is this, 1 in 50 chance for some item, which which is, I think, pretty crazy, but I haven't played a gacha game in a long time, so I don't know. There's also mounts, which are technically pay to win. I have 10 hours in the game, and I never got one for free. I just spent the crystals I got when buying the game, basically. And then the rest of the stuff in the shop are basically cosmetic. I think wings act as a mount, just a different form. But you have all kinds of other skins and stuff, not that important. But you can upgrade to this Infinity Deluxe bundle if you want, and it basically unlocks the $20 bundle that I bought on all your characters and across your account. I highly suggest you just purchase that and don't torture yourself. But that's the store. Again, if you're first starting this out, don't walk everywhere. Use the teleport system because that's what it's made for. The leveling experience kind of is reflected in that because every zone basically gives you different mobs to grind. If you fight something a few levels higher than you, it gets drastically harder, so you want to stay around your level when leveling up. I guess we're on the topic of leveling now, so we'll go into your options. You can party up. There's no KSing in this game. You can't take other people's mobs. Everyone's mobs are basically instants. You see players and they're like fighting ghosts next to you, so you don't have an issue with that. I personally am not a fan because I play MMOs to party up with people and work together, but even if you party up, you do not have the option to fight the same mobs. Side note, there is some kind of group content. We tried it and it went by really fast. We were over leveled, but they basically have some kind of wave system. You can grind it out to get experience if you want with your friends, but I thought it was kind of low effort, not very interesting. We did it a couple of times. I thought it was pretty boring, but that's what you have if you want to play with your friends. Also, trying to group up with friends is pretty annoying. I'm not sure how it works, but you don't get into the exact same instance every time you change your map if you're in a party. But if you are in a party and you're grinding the same map, you get 10% of their experience and there's no experience drop on your own mobs. You still get 100% of your experience and they give you 10% of each of theirs, but you don't actually lose any from your mobs. There's no downside to partying. If you're actually going to play this, definitely party up all the time. Outside of just grinding for experience, you have the main storyline, you have side quests, and you have hunting quests. So if you run out of side quests and you're trying to level up for your main quest, they have these hunting quests, which are in kind of maps that are pretty common for grinding, and they'll boost you heavily. So it's basically just a boost to your regular grind. You do a hunting quest for your level a couple of times and then you level up. So the game for right now is basically just grind. Outside of grinding, you have fishing, which is semi-AFK. You get introduced to it pretty early. It's like RuneScape where you just click once and you basically fill up your inventory. Sometimes the node dries up and you just have to move over. Definitely not my style, especially since it's just used for making extra money. You just sell them to the NPCs. You just repeat. There is a level for fishing. I don't really care because you just move on to the next zone or node and you make more money. You eventually get some different tools, but honestly, not super interesting, not that fun. It's just a semi-AFK way to make some extra money on the side. There's also some kind of system for collecting pets and familiars. I think they drop from bosses or from regular mobs. I can't really tell. I forgot what the NPC told me. Not something I'm interested either as far as collecting goes. For me, I like to grind out cosmetic stuff or interesting fun items. Didn't seem to find any cosmetics or any kind of skins or any mounts in this game. Honestly, I was just grinding for like 9 hours and then I fished for an hour to test out fishing. But that's kind of the whole game. Am I missing anything? People say they love it on mobile. I get it. I'm sure even though if you're watching this and you don't like the game, I'm sure you can respect that mobile gamers are enjoying this because it's action combat, not autoplay, and doesn't have any real stupid features that a lot of mobile MMOs have. For us that really love gaming on PC, who are used to playing MMORPGs on PC, this doesn't really cut it for me. I kind of can't really get myself to play it anymore. I really tried, but it's just not for me as a PC gamer. I think this is for the mobile players. I don't think it was even necessary to bring it to PC, but I'm sure some people are enjoying it on PCs. People like RuneScape, maybe they might just grind this straight, I don't know. But it's definitely not an MMO for me. I don't want to hate on it too much. I love the art. I wanted to enjoy it. I love the action combat. It just needs more work. Maybe mini games at an end, maybe PvP, I don't know. That's all from me. Let everyone know what you think in the comments. Leave me a like if you can. Subscribe for indie MMORPG content. It's all we cover on this channel. We have a Discord server, over 1,000 on there, indie MMORPG themed. We've known about this game for like 5 years, so if you are into indie MMOs, you want to follow development, it's where we share all the news that we find on upcoming MMORPGs and where we game together, and we have our little community. But that's all from me. Links are in the description. You can go and play this for yourself, and until next time, I will see you in game.